In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw an entire fantasy world map in just a few minutes. So I talk a lot about how easy it is to draw maps on this channel. I always say if you can write the alphabet, you can draw a fantasy map. But there's always been one caveat to that statement, and that's that you have to be patient when drawing these little icons over and over again to make a really cool world map. However, in this video, I'm going to put that caveat to the test and start a timer and see how long it actually takes to draw a cool looking world map. All right, for this map, I'm using just a regular sheet of printer paper, 8.5 by 11, and some different size Sakura micron pens. I have a 03 up to a size 10. Now, you really don't need any special fancy pens to make a cool looking map. Whatever you have on hand will do the trick. Now, before we start the timer and jump into the actual drawing, I do need to plan out just a few icons. I like to make myself a key with all of the pieces that I'm gonna need to build this map. And because I'm trying to make this map quickly, I'm gonna keep all of the icons really simple. So towns are dots, cities are dots with a circle around it, the capital is a star with a circle around it, dungeons are just a little bump with a half circle filled in. And as you can see, everything I'm drawing here is just really simple shapes. And really the most detailed thing I'm gonna be drawing on this entire map are these little trees, which are just circular cloud shapes with a little stick on the bottom for the tree trunk. I do think it's important to spend just a little bit of time before drawing the actual map to figure out these icons. As you can see, I'm trying to decide how I want to draw swamps. And practicing like this beforehand means I won't be making many mistakes on the final map. If it helps, you can slow down or rewind this video and see exactly how I'm drawing each of these simple icons that'll represent the different terrain types and locations on my map. But now that they're all done and figured out, let's jump into the actual drawing and get this timer started. All right, I'm starting with the thickest pen I have and I'm making the border of the map. I'm just drawing a sort of ripped parchment paper looking thing, you know, very iconic way of drawing a map on a piece of paper. After the border, I'm going to outline the islands. I like to start with the continental outlines, you know, where the land meets the water, and make this a really thick line so it contains the drawing and makes the map very clear. Now, I don't have a plan for this map. There's no story in mind or anything like that. I'm just making stuff up as I go along. Of course, if you want to spend a little bit of extra time and actually plan out your map a little more, or if you have details that are important to keep in mind, I would suggest using a pencil and planning out the shapes and locations of everything. You can always erase and make changes before jumping in and going over top of the pencils with the pen. Now, this map might not get used for anything in particular, but sometimes it's fun just to go for it and kind of work backwards. So, you know, I'm drawing this whole big world with nothing in mind, but I might get a bunch of ideas that I can use later on based on the experience I'm having drawing this map. So, who knows? Okay, now I'm filling in the interior of the map with the cities and towns. I'm really not getting caught up in the logic of this map. I'm not being strict with the technicalities of how land masses and terrain and water and all that stuff works. But at the same time, it does make sense to me to put these places, these towns and cities near water or other useful geographic locations. When I'm drawing maps, I tend to start with the biggest stuff first, you know, stuff like mountain ranges. But for this one, I decided to add in roads and rivers first. Because I don't really have a plan, I think it'll be easier to draw the different icons around these places that need to be connected by road or river. I also want to say it's just so nice to get off of the computer and draw. I spend so much time writing and drawing and working on the computer, or, you know, watching something on a screen, playing Marvel Snap on my phone, that getting to take a little bit of a break and sit down with some pens and a blank sheet of paper just feels so nice. And actually drawing on paper, you know, you start with nothing, with a blank page, and then in a matter of minutes you have an entire world that you can hold in your hands is super, super cool. It's kind of like magic, if you ask ask me. So yeah, I'm having fun adding in mountains and other icons, just plopping them down wherever I feel like it. Drawing all of the icons on the separate sheet of paper at the beginning has given me the confidence to jump straight into this map with no plan at all and go straight into drawing with pins that can't be erased. And honestly, it's hard not to fill up the entire map with these icons. I need to learn to leave a little bit of negative space on these maps. That's why drawing these maps is so easy and rewarding. No individual part of this drawing is complicated at all. I mean, we've already drawn all the icons beforehand, and you've seen how easy it is. But by repeating these simple icons over and over again, you end up creating a detailed and complicated drawing. So we could consider this map done. It took me just over 20 minutes to draw. Obviously, I could have gotten more complicated. I could have added more icons or made a bigger map or drawn things smaller, but this world is definitely big enough for what I would consider an entire tabletop role-playing game campaign. Now, for a drawing, 20 minutes is no time at all, so I'm going to take it a little bit further. In one of my recent videos, I was talking about how I love to zone out and draw the waves, the water on these maps, you know, just the little swooping lines. So just for fun, I want to see how long it'll take to fill up the entire ocean with waves. So it can be really fun getting into the rhythm of drawing patterns and just make something with a pen and a piece of paper. And I've been working really hard on this new tabletop role-playing game campaign called Asterland Odyssey. It's inspired by the original NES Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy games. You know, this adventure has got an evil wizard and some dragons. The players have to collect these magical items before the world gets taken over by monsters. Everything's illustrated in pixel art, so it's very different than what I'm drawing now. But the whole thing still has a lot of cool illustrations in it. There's 3 books. The first one is already available on my Patreon, and I'm in the middle of wrapping up the second one that details all the locations of Asterland, the world that this adventure takes place in. It's got a bunch of dungeon maps and lots of fun and weird characters. And then next month's book is all of the monsters and items you can find while exploring. I'm really excited to work on that one, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of videos on the channel about drawing pixel art monsters and stuff. If you'd like to support the channel and get some awesome adventures, please go check out my Patreon. It's the first link down in the description. I work really, really hard on everything I put out there, and even though this video has nothing to do with it, I feel like I should share it with you because I want as many people to see it and have fun playing Asterland Odyssey as possible. Okay, anyway, it took me longer to draw all of these waves than it did to draw the actual map, so hopefully that shows you just how easy this process is, and I really hope you give it a shot. Just spend 20 or 30 minutes drawing a fantasy world map. It's really, really easy, and like I said, creating a world out of nothing is so fun and rewarding, and maybe you could even draw the map and expand it into a whole adventure like Asterland Odyssey. All right, let me know what you think of this 20/45 minute map down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!